Kayla's Home and Health Crusade. Take one. And we're back. I didn't have an intro again. Sorry. It's another week and another weekly update, which is kind of short, but very super positive for me. It is like 11:30 at night, and I'm so tired. I just got done taking a shower. I am almost ready for bed, but I wanted to jump in and let you know what has been going on with me this week. As you know, from last video, I had a bout of vertigo, which kind of ruined a lot of stuff this week, because from like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which was my last week's routine and my last week's update, that was ruined. And Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week was also ruined. And you saw the video that came out Wednesday, and I had just barely gotten enough that I could be up, and I only had like the positional vertigo left. So it was only when I laid down. If you don't know what positional is, you lay down, you turn over in bed, and you get that tilt-a-whirl feeling, and you're like, yeah. So it was only positional. I was able to get up and get around. So that screwed like 3 days out of my week for gym and exercise. Thursday, I was still pretty nauseous, but I did manage to be drove. No, I did not drive on my own. To be drove to the gym, and my butt got up, and I decided to have a gym day. I did it Thursday and Friday, but that was it. Saturday I obviously couldn't. Sunday was a no-go. I had too many family obligations, unfortunately. So I only got 2 days in, and I thought, this is going to be an interesting week. I did not divert or defer from my diet whatsoever. I was still really good about that. So I thought this would be a real interesting experiment to see if it's just the shot that's making me lose all the weight and I'm just doing all this gym stuff for nothing, or if that it's only part of the shot, and a lot of my effort is weight loss. And I'm excited to say that Monday, when I weighed in, I was at 228. Woo! So but as happy as I was to be in the 20s and get out of the 30s, I only lost about 1 3/4 pounds. Yeah, so 1 pound and 3/4 of a pound. I didn't make a whole 2 pounds, and I am normally losing 3 pounds on average a week. So yes, my gym is doing a hell of a lot of good, and my workouts and my efforts are half of it, and my diet and it is another half, and my mental health would be another. Because that was one of the things that I learned this week, that you have to put in the mental health work. Mental health seriously matters, people, because literally there's so many things that you're used to. You can be used to, like I am. I grew up with poor eating habits because I was taught poor eating habits. I was taught poor portion control. I was taught poor cooking habits. I was taught southern fried everything, breaded everything, marinated in butter, and so I didn't actually have a mindset of what an actual real healthy portion control was like. And I was eating these, I'm counting out these little portion controls and stuff, but in my head it looks like I'm like literally depriving myself, and that I'm like doing something wrong. It feels like that this is an unhealthy thing to do, because in my head it looks so small, because I'm so used to a much bigger portion that it looks like I'm depriving myself and doing something like anorexic, unhealthy. And I am having to learn what is a healthy, normal portion control versus what I was taught. Because there's so many things between triggers and lifestyle that you've been taught. There's a lot of things that get in your way. I mean, I learned this week that I can't always do the things that I used to do, and even though I've lost some weight, I think, oh, I can do that, and then I realize, no, I can't do that because I'm way too heavy. And in my mind, I'm not thinking, well, I'm so heavy that I can do that. I'm thinking, well, I used to do that, so I should be able to do that. And then I find out, no, I'm completely so heavy that's not even fathomable right now. So I am working on what my perception of things is versus what they actually are. And another one I'm working on is self-care. And I know that your health and getting back into shape is a form of self-care, but I'm talking about like self-care. Depression really gets to you, and you will do things that you normally wouldn't do, like lay around for a few days in the same clothes, or you will not keep up with your hygiene. You'll forget to brush your teeth for a couple of days, and you won't care. I mean, it is amazing what depression will do. You literally don't care when you always used to care, and those were big things for you. So one of my most embarrassing things, and I'm being really raw with you guys here, is my teeth. Because I took such pride in my teeth. And the last few years, I just crawled into a hole, and I didn't care about anything, well, other than my kids, because when it came to me, it all took back seat. And I'm gonna have to get a lot of cavities filled. I have right here a chipped tooth, and because of it, it really, really ruins my self-esteem, because when you smile like this, because it's chipped, it's not the same length as my other tooth. And so I look like all wonkified when I smile, and it never used to be that way, and it just absolutely bothers me. So if you've ever noticed, like when I take pictures, I'm like, that's because I don't like it. I hate the way my smile looks right now. So that's something I have to go take care of. I have been very diligently brushing my teeth every day. I take a shower every day. I have to learn. I'm still learning. I will take it off after this video, I promise. But I'm still learning not to fall asleep with my makeup on. That one's more of a, I'm just exhausted and don't give a crap. But anyway, yeah, I have to learn to do that one. There's just certain things that I'm going to have to learn. The other thing that I have noticed is that my muscles are getting so much better. I mean, so much better. And I learned that my muscles affect like a lot of things I didn't even think they did. I am seeing improvements in being able to stand up in one spot. I know I complained about that a couple of videos back. I cannot stand up. I couldn't stand up in the kitchen and just sit there and wash stuff and stay in a stationary position for long amounts of time, because all of a sudden my sciatic nerve would start pinching, and my back didn't want to hold my weight up that long and in one spot not moving. If I'm moving, it seems to be okay. But if I have to stay in one spot, my back just kills me. I was able to do the entire kitchen I was able to wipe down the counters and the stove and do a mountain, and I mean a mountain of dishes. I probably should have filmed it, but then it would have taken 50 times longer. um, a mountain of dishes, all due because I spent like 5 days with vertigo and they just piled up. But it took me forever, and I stood there, and when I was done, I wasn't in pain, and I like literally it was like doing doing doing. My the little light bulb came on, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not hurting. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not hurting. So, uh, I'm sorry, little things are just monumental to me, especially when you couldn't do them. You really start appreciating things more that you lost and now you have back that you took for granted when you finally get them back, and you're like, oh, I can do that again. That feels so freaking amazing. It really does. But yeah, I stood up for long periods of time in one spot, did not hurt. That was the best. And I noticed something else. Now, this is also pretty personal and very raw for me. The reason I'm sharing it is because if you have the same problems, I want you to feel that you're not alone. Because that would be the only purpose for me sharing this stuff. Because, like, I mean, who would want to get on the internet and literally blither off this stuff if they're not trying to help others? So I noticed a couple of years ago that my bladder, being able to hold my bladder was getting more and more difficult. And I complained to the doctor I had at that time, and she didn't take it very seriously at all. She's like, oh, I'll do some Kegels, and I'd go home, I'd do some stiff Kegels, and it wasn't working. And it got to the point where if I would wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, I would not make it to the toilet. I could not hold, no matter how hard I was straining, it was just leaking. And it would go right down my legs, ruin my gems, ruin my underwear, have to go change. And because it was like I had no control. It was like there was nothing holding it, and it just went. It wasn't like I was just voluntarily doing it. It was just coming out, whether I wanted it to or not. And it got to the point where I would have to wear pads everywhere. Otherwise, if I could not make it to the bathroom fast enough, I would have a mess, and nobody wants that out in public. So I was always wearing pads, no matter what part of the month it was, and it was to prevent leakage, and it was a real self-esteem killer because. I mean, usually, you're like in your 80s and your 90s, you got to deal with that stuff. But not in my 40s. I mean, come on now. That was a real killer. And I didn't tell anybody about that one other than my doctor. And I complained and I told her that I cannot hold it. I can now. I have done enough core exercises. And no, they weren't Kegels. Anyway, I have done enough core exercises and leg exercises that I get up to go to the bathroom, and it's no different than when I was in my 20s or 30s. I just go to the bathroom, and I can hold it. I'm not wearing pads anymore. I can spend an hour on the treadmill, wipe the stupid thing down, go to the gym, locker rooms, and no problem whatsoever. Then I have all control back. And that one's huge. That one really is monumental to me because I hated that. I hated that. I really thought I was becoming incontinent, and that this was something I was going to have to deal with the rest of my life. I had no idea that it was, I was that far out of shape that I literally had no muscles for holding my bladder in anymore. It's that that was amazing that I have my control back again. It really is. I can't even tell you the amount of joy and gratefulness and just absolute thank you to God for getting that back, because that was something I never ever wanted to deal with. Okay, so all in all, it's been a pretty lax week. I did a lot of staying still. Because nobody likes a tilt-a-whirl experience when they're in the middle of sleeping, and no, it's not fun. I did a lot of watching YouTube. I did a whole lot of watching how to improve my videos so that you guys aren't so stinking bored, and then they're like more entertaining to watch. I am gonna do my best to improve that. I'm but I also did a lot of watching some exercise videos, um, uh, exercises to do that will tone muscle, that will that would be beneficial for me in the areas that I'm looking for. And I fell down a huge, huge rabbit hole with that one. And in my next video, I am going to discuss some of those topics that I found that absolutely shocked the living tar out of me. So I hope you tune in next time. I'll give you my weekly update, and then we are going to talk about fake influencers. Yup, we're going there. Bye. Have a great week.